Everything changed the day that I was raped.
He hit me in the head and knocked me out.
I remember holding the closet thinking, what just happened?
A month later, I found out I was pregnant.
If this is happening to me, surely I'm not the only one.
$16,150 service members were assaulted in 2009.
About 500,000 women have now been sexually assaulted in the U.S. military.
They let this man get away with everything but murder.
They gave him Military Professional of the Year award during the rape investigation.
They made it very, very clear if I said anything, they were going to kill me.
Most Americans assume that there is access to a system of justice.
You would think that because the military is about protecting our country, that certainly they would want to protect their own.
We're a country who needs every good soldier to make sure we have a strong military defense.
How many women are leaving the military because they've been sexually assaulted or raped?
Civilians see it as being a military problem.
Most rapists are repetitive criminals. They do it again and again.
They go on to literally prey on women and men, girls and boys in our neighborhoods back home.
When does this ever end?
This trailer is from The Invisible War, a documentary depicting the underground battle that women face in the military. We will be discussing the issue of rape and sexual assault, particularly toward women in all branches of the military. Our problem statement is as follows. An overwhelming majority of women in the military, from the ages of 18 to 30, are sexually assaulted. This is disproportionate compared to their male counterparts. We are going to look at the causes, strategies, and effects related to this issue. 20% of women currently serving in the military have been sexually assaulted. This is a result of many factors that ultimately contribute to abuse of power and victim blaming. To begin with, 15% of incoming Navy recruits have committed sexual assaults before entering the military. The military does not make an effort to ensure that their recruits are not sex offenders. The military consciously puts women in a position where they can be taken advantage of. Military barracks are oftentimes separated to have only one female and the rest males. Separating women from each other puts them in a position to feel inferior. All phone calls within the military are screened. The men that screen these calls are the commanders, and oftentimes the rapists themselves. Therefore, women have no way to ask for outside help because they know that their every word is being heard. Even when service women are sexually assaulted, they do not file a report because of the harm that it can cause them. Women who are raped receive death threats and risk losing their rank. 25% of service women did not report their rape because the person to report to was the rapist themselves. Perpetrators have been found to abuse drugs, alcohol, and violence when performing sexual assault. At the Marine Corps base in Washington, D.C., for example, commanders take all the women to the bar for long periods of time, claiming that it is mandatory toward their work. They force the women to drink without their consent and proceed to take advantage of them.
The effects of rape and sexual assault of women in the military are similar to civilian women in some ways, but unique in many others. The VA has actually come up with a term that defines the detrimental psychological effects resulting from sexual assault in military members. It's called MST, short for Military Sexual Trauma. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs defines MST as psychological trauma which in the judgment of a VA mental health professional resulted from a physical assault of a sexual nature, battery of a sexual nature, or sexual harassment which occurred while the veteran was serving on active duty or active duty for training. MST is the leading cause of post-traumatic stress disorder in women in the military, while combat is the leading cause for men. The effects of MST can last for years, affecting personal relationships and interfering with everyday activities. As we've learned from the text, signs of personal well-being include optimism, self-control and determination, and positive and healthy relationships, among others. Women affected by MST often lack these signs of well-being. Women affected often deal with depression and feelings of anger and irritability, as well as feeling emotionally flat. They report difficulty with feeling love and happiness, which ultimately lead to problems with relationships and developing or keeping connections with others. They have trouble sleeping or have restless sleep due to nightmares. It's problematic for them to pay attention, and they frequently have trouble with memory and concentration. Sometimes these women feel on edge or unsafe due to reminders of the sexual trauma. Many also have problems abusing alcohol and drugs. Perhaps the most unique symptom of MST compared to civilian sexual assault is the feeling of discomfort or fear around employers. Because many of the perpetrators are authority figures who are higher in rank, the victims of MST are especially prone to distrust any authority figure. 90% of survivors who are victims of sexual assault in the military are involuntarily discharged from the military. This leaves them without a job, and many without a place to go. According to the Service Women's Action Network, rape, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and their attendant consequences are often risk factors for homelessness among female veterans. 39% of homeless female veterans who used Veterans Health Administration services screened positive for MST in 2010. There is no denying that the consequences for sexual assault victims in our servicewomen are dire. Strategies are needed to provide sources of protection and support to improve well-being after this traumatic event.
Currently, many new policies and standards are being discussed and implemented at the organizational level due to the command structure in the military. However, when dealing with a crime that takes away the victim's sense of personal control, it is crucial to form strategies specifically for personal well-being. This is a vital component of our vision statement, that American military women serve in an environment with adequate protection and support. As previously discussed, self-control and determination are signs of positive personal well-being. A strategy that is currently being practiced and provides a source of self-empowerment that leads to these signs is the SHARP program of the U.S. Army. SHARP, or Sexual Harassment and Assault Response and Prevention, provides women with a way to speak with counselors, advocates, medical professionals, and chaplains without being obligated to disclose information to law enforcement or their chain of command. This gives the victim more control over their healing process and gives them privacy to make decisions about how they want to proceed. They are protected while they consider their course of action. Our textbook also lists the ABCs of change, the interacting domains of affective, behavioral, and cognitive change. Although counseling involves interpersonal interaction, these counselors and victim advocates are employed solely to foster the personal well-being of these victims. They do this by giving the women a safe place so that, if she chooses, she can manage any affective, behavioral, and cognitive change that she wants to make. Another aspect of strategy, spiritual change, is also fostered by SHARP and similar programs in other branches. Understanding change in the context of however one assigns meaning to life is crucial. Chaplains are an invaluable resource for victims as well. Unfortunately, structural and legal policies in the military are currently stifling the recovery of MST victims. However, by addressing sexual assault at the personal level, many aspects of the life-changing aftermath of these experiences can be improved. The women can be empowered in their decisions, and less may suffer from PTSD, homelessness, depression, and the other previously discussed ramifications of assault. They are assisted in making effective behavioral and cognitive changes to help them cope and move forward in their lives and careers. That's all. That's perfect.